Alright, bros, welcome back. So, I'm going to recommend you a book right now. I hope you guys realize that when I recommend you a book, I'm not just recommending any old kind of book that is for your entertainment. I'm recommending you a book that is going to give you what I believe to be insight that most people don't know. Red pill info, in a sense, okay? One of those books was The Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi. Very red pill, very enlightening. The next book I'm going to recommend to you that you read in the next week or two, we're going to start a book club in the Monk Mode group, but I just think this is such an important book, and it is called The Education of Millionaires. The Education of Millionaires, I forgot the author's name. I'm actually still reading that book. I think it's by Ed something. So go out and buy that book. I highly suggest you listen to it on audio. And the way that he sets it up is he interviews multiple millionaires, billionaires, people of great success. And he condenses it into this book that lays it out. And there's about 7 different rules here. The first one he talks about is that success in a lot of these people's life, in almost every single case, the success that they experienced was proportionate to the amount of risk that they were willing to take. A lot of these guys went through hunger. They were starving artists. They didn't have a lot of friends, spent a lot of time alone, maybe even homeless. And eventually they became successes. But even when they had these skills, there was a common theme. No one knew about them. No one cared about them. So they had to suffer until people started to care about them, until they became leaders of men, until they began to formulate an audience. And that just hit me hard. Is like, I don't think we realize that part of when we think of success, like, if I just work hard enough, if I just continue to go, you got to realize, guys, that you may risk it all. And instead of experiencing success, you may fail. You may fall flat on your face. You may have to go bankrupt, or I don't know, man. You may go through some harsh shit. If you actually choose to risk it, like a lot of people talk about, I want to go for my dream. It's like, well, a lot of times you only hear about the people that actually made it. You don't hear about the countless others, the other 99% that got no return on their investment, where their dreams betrayed them in a sense, and they didn't get what they wanted. So you got to grab your fucking nutsack at a point in your lifetime and be like willing to go through that shit. And what I'm telling you guys here, I feel like this community, this tribe that we formulated is really growing. In the Monk Mode Box Mastermind group, there's a link down below. You guys can check that out. I set that up because I wanted to embody the Monk Mode philosophy and what it stands for. And Monk Mode is a period of your life for a young man where you actually go in usually solitude and you ask yourself a very critical question, and that's, what do I want? What matters? And so I put together this group is once you ask that self your question, and once you go into that period of monk mode, no fap, reading, working on yourself, self-improvement, meditation, cold showers, making more money, working out, you have this place where you're held accountable by other people that are on very similar journey. Not everyone's cut out for this, guys. I want you to do the best, but I want to leave you here with this message is like, look, I'm reading these 2 books right now, Casanova. This guy was around before RSD Tyler. This guy was around before Mystery Method. This guy was the fucking seducer of the ages, man. He had to figure this out by himself. He was born into poverty. Didn't know anything. His first love died to smallpox. You go over here to 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene. All these laws contain stories in them of men that have gained power. And every single one of them suffered. Every single one of them had to have some sort of risk. He had to have some sort of risk, man. He had to have some sort of skin in the game to become the world's greatest seductive genius. And so we all want this of, look, how willing are you? How willing are you? I tell you what I learned on a meta level of like being a man is if other men can do it, then I sure as hell can do it. If other men that have lived throughout history can suffer through poverty, they can get called to go to the Navy, to go to the Army, they're just recruited, they're torn away from their families, they struggle to provide food for their families, their city, their village is plagued by a disease, they have to cure, they're praying to the gods to heal their wife or their little babe from smallpox. Why can't I fucking handle going up to a girl and saying hi? Why can't I handle a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit of chaos in my life? Why can't I take more responsibility? Why can't I live the legacy of a man? And let me just look to some of the great men of history that have also had to suffer. And so I've realized, guys, that to be confident can also be this obscure sort of, just have more confidence. Be more confident. How do you really describe that? And I want to leave you guys with this little thought. Is like, really, true confidence, I believe, is the ability to get into your mind, understand your mind. Anxiety plagues many men. And anxiety, what happens is it runs its course. It runs this scenario of you acting out into the future. And you see the outcomes. But anxiety leads us to the worst possible outcome that can be experienced. And so if we're always having anxiety, we usually freeze. We don't act. We don't take, any risk. And so you can begin to become aware of the thoughts. And if it doesn't serve, if that end thing does not serve your idea of success, what you want to accomplish, change it. Change what doesn't serve you. You are highly capable of more than you expect. If you want to become familiar, read these biographies, autobiographies, read about power, read about men of history, and see where you come from. See where you're like, this line of greatness ends. It's at you. The line of greatness ends at you. And it's up to you to take up that cross, to take up the torch and go from here, guys. All right? I will see you guys soon. Peace.